आ जाए सब गाड़ियां खड़ी हो गई हैं।
விசாரணையை முன்னெடுத்திருக்கிறார்கள். பாலிமர் செய்திகளுக்காக
Ma'am, shall we start?
Yes, we can start.
Okay. Vaishnavi?
Yes, ma'am. A very warm welcome to one and all to the EBSP, a webinar for knowing emerging technology and building leadership ability for budding engineers, which is organized by TCET NIT, which is a student exchange program. I, Vaishnavi Shetty, student of TCET, will be your host for today's track on IoT, that is Internet of Things. Now I would request Sonali ma'am to introduce the speaker for today's session. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. Today we have Dr. Lochan Jolly with us. Dr. Lochan Jolly is working as a professor in EMPC department at Thakur College of Engineering and Technology. Ma'am has more than 20 years of teaching experience. Ma'am's area of specialization are microelectronics, VLSI, optical communication, and satellite communication. Ma'am has received Best Employee Award for her innovative teaching methodology and Appreciation Award for STEM workshop from R2IW and Rotary Club, and also received Appreciation Award by FOSS IIT Bombay for contribution for Scilab Tech Immigration in project of FOSS Symposium. Ma'am has received various grants totaling more than 7 lakhs. Ma'am is a lifetime member of Indian Society of Technical Education, ISTE, and Institute of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineers, IETE. Ma'am has published more than 50 papers in international journals and conferences. Ma'am was an advisory committee member of many workshops, seminars, and conferences. We are very thankful to ma'am for taking out time for her busy schedule for this webinar. Now I request ma'am to please take over the session.
Thank you, Sonali. Good morning, all. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you. So, good morning, all, and I welcome you all to this. Can you host? Can you mute others? Host, can you mute others in the meeting?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So thank you all. Good morning and welcome to this seminar or webinar, I would say, on emerging technology IoT. So the first question that I want to understand is, have you come across any IoT device that you are using or your friends or anyone who is using? So for that, I just request to start this, I just want to have an idea of what all devices you have come across, which are Internet of Things. For that, I request all of you to just go to this menti.com and use the code 91703158. Can you paste in the chat? Okay, I'll just do that. So all of you can just go to this and you can type in your answer. Yeah, mobile, car. What else? A device which you think is an IoT. I see only one person has entered. I request others also to give your responses, so that we are all on one page and then we can start. Yes, all the participants. Yeah. If you're facing any problem in using this, please let me know. Are you able to give your inputs? I see more inputs coming. Smart cities, smart homes. What else? It's important to be connected, then only it makes sense of an online sessions. Good. Alexa, computer. Breadboard. I see breadboard as an example, but I would like to know how it is. Lab equipments, Alexa and Siri. Home security, good. Smartwatch. You can, if you are not able to write there, you can use the chat also. Sohan has responded on chat. Google Assistant, very good. So in case you are finding problem on writing on Mentimeter, those who have a problem, you can give your responses in chat and can include it here. Yes. So what I come to know from your responses, yes, smart fire alarms. Okay. Now, what I come to know from your responses is that we all have come across various devices which are smart devices, or which you are Internet of Things. Okay, so all of us have come across one or the other example which we consider as Internet of Things. So it's now we have to understand what it is. Why do we call it as Internet of Things? What are the things that you need to consider while designing an Internet of Things? What could be the challenges that you come across when you are designing? Or is it very simple to have an IoT device and basically have everything communicating with every other thing in this world using an internet? So first we will just see this video. I just want the host to let me know in case there is some sound problem if it is not visible.
By
Is the
now,
sound
you
is
may have
there?
heard the term Internet of Things. Sounds interesting. What does the
Yes, ma'am.
Internet of Things actually mean? IoT is an evolution of mobile, home, and embedded applications that are being connected to the internet, integrating greater compute capabilities and using data analytics to extract meaningful information. Billions of devices will be connected to the internet, and soon, hundreds of billions of devices. As related devices connect with each other, they can become an intelligent system of systems. And when these intelligent devices and systems of systems share data over the cloud and analyze it, they can transform our businesses, our lives, and our world in countless ways. Whether it's improving medical outcomes, creating better products faster with lower development costs, making shopping more enjoyable, or optimizing energy generation and consumption. Here's an example of the big picture. Imagine an intelligent device such as a smart traffic camera. The camera can monitor the road for congestion, accidents, and weather conditions, and communicate that status to a gateway that combines it with data from other cameras, creating an intelligent citywide traffic system. Now, imagine that intelligent traffic system connected to other citywide transportation systems, which get data from their own intelligent devices, creating an ever larger intelligent system of systems. The really big possibilities come from analyzing the end-to-end data across that system of systems. For example, let's say the city's intelligent traffic system detects massive congestion due to an accident. That insight can be sent to the citywide transportation system, which can analyze the accident's impact on other city systems. Recognizing the accident is near the airport and 2 city schools, it could notify those systems so they can adjust flight and school schedules. It can also analyze and derive optimal routes around the accident and send those instructions to the city's digital signage system to guide drivers around the accident. And that's just one example of the potential benefits that can happen when intelligent devices share insight with other systems, forming ever-expanding systems of systems. But how do we...
Okay, so this was just a brief idea of where we are presently, or what could be the possible ways in where you could be using this Internet of Things. So right from providing an assistance to a customer to actually controlling the traffic, maintaining discipline, everything can be done with internet. But when did it start? Who started it? In 1999, British technology pioneer Kevin Ashton, who is a co-founder of Auto ID Laboratory at MIT, invented the term Internet of Things. So he was the first person who has coined this term IoT. And when he started, it was only with respect to only RFIDs. That RFID could be used as communicating with the devices or the things, and that is how he had first coined this term. But when I look, or when you look at how did this IoT has grown over the years, from RFID to the present wirelessly, we are able to communicate with anything, anywhere. That is what is the present evolution that has taken with respect to the IoT. Now, what is, let us now define how we can define this IoT is, it is about connecting things with an embedded electronics. Basically, when I talk about an IoT, it is a device which is embedded with the sensors. The sensors which are taking the information about the environment, whether it is a temperature, whether it is about any kind of congestion, or whatever it is about sensing the environment and giving that information over the input to, over the internet to the system, where it could be analyzed. That, as we could see, that there could be a large data that could be collected through these sensors, and that data is very important. But how do we take out the information from it is the other thing that this particular system has to do. That is, make it an intelligent information and make your system smart. When you say it is smart, it is not only taking the information through the sensors, but being able to analyze it and be able to generate a useful information, which could be actually giving a business intelligence, which could be useful for the customer, which could be useful for growing your business, or which could be actually making the things much more easier when you are talking about an Internet of Things. So Internet of Things is about connecting the things with an embedded system which could collect and exchange the data and collaboratively achieve the complex task which requires high degree of intelligence, that is through data analysis. So basically, Internet of Things is about exploring the actual potential of the technology by expanding the interdependence of humans through interaction, so that they can contribute and collaborate and do things. That is making it safer, secure, and will also give you a time saving. It is not only making your system intelligent, it is about reducing the efforts. Suppose you have a system which is able to sense what is, say, lacking in your particular, if I say there is an IoT sensor fixed in your fridge, which is sensing that there is a shortage or the stock of milk has got over. It could actually collaborate with the enterprise, maybe the provider who is giving you the milk, and see to it that without your human intervention, the stocks are refilled or the things are delivered at your home, and it is saving your time. As well as we have to be very sure that when you are talking about the system integrating or being able to collaborate, it should be safer, so that your personal information or data is not being hacked or being used by others. We'll come to more details of it when we move further. So why do we need IoT? We understood what is IoT. IoT is about expanding the potential by when you are able to collaborate, contribute, and interact. These are the three key words which will help, or which is actually talking about how IoT is able to enhance the potential, or basically make the system user-friendly, give it an experience that is actually different and matters a lot, and people want to use it. Now, everything, if you talk about, you have a simple lamp that is coming with an IoT. You will have the lights in your house, which are actually depending upon the intensity of the light outside or inside the room, will be able to actually tell you whether it is, it should be high intensity or whether it should be low. So all this, how it is happening is, you may have some kind of intelligence about what is the minimum intensity that is required in the house. If it is less, it should switch on the light. Whether it has reached that intensity threshold value, if yes, then it will keep it, because it notes that the user that has the system, this is his requirement. So why do we need it? It is for continuously monitoring. It could be the example that is quoted here is about health. All of you know that this COVID has actually
Ma'am, you're on mute.
now, is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So IoT is about continuously monitoring certain parameters for the users which are of importance. So if I talk about COVID-19, what has happened is we all know that it was at the time it was very difficult for us to go to the doctors for even a regular checkups. And at that time, it was important to have your health monitoring parameters. And that is the time there is a lot of devices that have come for a user where he can himself monitor these parameters. And in case of finding these parameters crossing a certain limit, it could have informed the doctor for assistance, right? So this takes you an example of a health monitoring. As any irregular condition is monitored, the hospital is notified. And in this process, what is happening is, suppose the user is able to, suppose the hospital is able to identify that the patient needs a quick assistance. So what will happen is the ambulance will be sent, and by the time the patient reaches the hospital, all those facilities that are required to be there for the patient to be able to given the right assistance and avoid any kind of casualties, it can be done. So everything before the patient arrives, everything is there and he is given the assistance immediately. So what are the benefits of IoT? As we could see, it will give you an efficient utilization of resources. Why? Because when it is you are coming to the hospital, the resources are ready. There is no wastage of time, which saves time, which saves the minimizes the human efforts. And you can even have this equipped with an artificial intelligence, so that you can actually be, the doctors could be taking an informed decision as these are the parameter variations and this is where he wants an assistance. And we need to have, it can, if we have integrated with encryption and decryption, we can have an improved security. So this is the present status of IoT statistics, which talks about where this stands. With roundabout, it says that IoT device market is anticipated to top to 1.3 trillion by 2026. IoT health market is of $14 billion by 2024, and global IoT medical devices market to top 62 billion by 2025. So this is actually the market share. If you see into manufacturing, we have IoT of 40.2% with robotics coming, the shop floors being completely controlled by the robotics and IoT. Healthcare has lot of IoT devices, 30.3%. Retail and security is there, but that has to be a little less percentage. A good example of actually a simple system which is using an IoT for your logistic control could be in a library where we have books, every book with an RFID. The sensors in the shelf will help us to update as which book is there, which has been removed, and or maybe in your retail stores as what stock has gone reduced or what is the present stock. So all that could be automatically updated if we have RFID tags on your system and the sensors which are sensing it and continuously changing. Now let us look into what are the IoT features. As I said, IoT helps us to achieve the true potential of the technology by integrating, collaborating, and being able to perform it together. So how it does it is, the first thing is it connects. So various devices, so you can have various devices at various, if I'm talking about pollution in a particular city. So what we will have is we will have the various sensors at different parts of the city. All these are connected. These sensors will be sensing the particular values of various parameters, and maybe at the central point we could be collecting and finding out what is the pollution condition of it. So that is how it is connecting the various things to a platform. They are sensing it and sending it to a platform where the cloud, where it is being collected, where it will have a processing system to actually derive the intelligence and talk about what could be the things that can be done to improve that particular condition and have the user a better experience. The second thing is, as I said, connecting the devices so that the data could be collected. The second thing is analyzing it at the cloud to derive the intelligence that could help us to develop the system or give a immediate feedback. It should not be that we get a feedback later and then the next version of your device, when it comes, you improve it. It's a system which has got a capability to be able to analyze and immediately correct any problems that are existing. That is how, or that is the reason why it is becoming so popular. Because every time when I use it, I know the system has developed an intelligence with my experience, my inputs given to it, and is now working as per me. And finally, integrate it to the various platforms. As I was talking about, a sensor in a fridge sensing the stock of milk going down. So it could have collaborated maybe with the DMart or maybe with other platform and place an order, and your things are at your home without your human intervention. So maybe that could be with respect to an Amazon platform or other platform, and quickly those things could be ordered without a human intervention by collaborating on the various platforms. So let's look into every parameter in more detail as what do we mean by connect. So connect simply means that I have a physical sensor at one location and I need to have a device which needs to be able to communicate and put my data on the cloud. For that, we need to have a device virtualization. That is, every time I want it to switch on or switch off, it should not be I should be going physically and switching on and switching off. It should be soft switching. That is, whenever the parameters are changing, say if my temperature is increasing, my system knows that this is what is making my customer uncomfortable. What it has to do is it has to switch on the AC. So it has to be a soft switching depending upon the inputs. So what it has to do is a device virtualization, a standardized integration of devices with the IoT enterprise. That is, whenever the sensor senses that there is a variation in the parameter crossing a threshold, it should be able to operate it and switch it on. Second is that high-speed messaging. That is, it should enable reliable, secured, and a bi-directional communication. That is, the sensor should be able to send the information. That is, if I'm sending it through an internet on the cloud, there should be a Wi-Fi to send my information on the cloud. Or if after processing, some information has to come back to the switch. So it should be a bi-directional, that I should be able to communicate between the device and the cloud. And the next and the most important is endpoint management. The sensors are putting all the information on the cloud is sending. But the important thing is, what is the location where I should be placing my data? What is the device that should be acting on the information that is coming? That is, there should be a recognition of the device that it is able to communicate and take the data from the correct device. So connect means device virtualization, messaging, that is bi-directional messaging, and also endpoint management, that is understanding with which device it is communicating, receiving the data, and sending the data. The next is analyze. So analyze, what we have to do, as I said, you are putting all the data on the cloud, that is, or the server. That could be the thing that is acting as the data collection point. So once you are getting that data, that is becoming a large data, big data. When as you could see in the video that I played, you have billions of devices. Now, as these billions of devices are increased, or as these devices are increasing, every device is sensing a data and putting it on the cloud. So what is happening is we need to actually see to it that that data is converted into a business intelligence and information that is worth for a user experience improvement as well as for the service provider, so that the user continues to take the services, more business opportunities are there. So stream processing, it's a real-time analysis of incoming data stream with event aggregation, filtering, correlation, and processing. That what are things that it is doing, it is all happening in real time. As I said, it's not that when the next version of your device will come, it will improve. It's all real time. Your data is being collected, unwanted information is filtered out, the correlations is found out, so that you give the maybe with the threshold values, with the user inputs, the correlations is found out, processing of the information is done, and the right information is sent back to the system so that it acts accordingly. Data enrichment is about, in this process of providing the service to the user, the certain composite information is taken out through this processing and it is kept for the system to become more intelligent, that is increasing the intelligence of the system, so that next time the human intervention is further reduced. Okay. And event storage is any information. If I want, I can have a query, I can visualize it, and the cloud service support and enable big data analysis. So event storage, that you should be able to perform any query and visualize what could be the process, what could be the data that is coming through this integrated business intelligence cloud system. Now next is integrate. So integrate is enterprise connectivity, maybe to the various platforms where you could dynamically dispatch this information, the data that you are receiving from your sensors, and allow it to actually respond to your request, and it could be done through the APIs. Important thing is, you should, when you are integrating, the very important point is command and control. You should be able to send the messages to the devices from enterprise and mobiles and independent of device connectivity. So that is very important, is you should be able to give enterprise connectivity, APIs, and be able to give the command and control. Now, looking into how we will be, what should be the architecture of an IoT device, or how your IoT ecosystem should be, so that it is able to give you all these services. As far as IoT right now, we can say that there's no standards that are there, but any IoT system will require certain basic things. So a basic architecture will be of 3 layers. It will be an application layer, that sorry, I should start from the reverse. It's a perception layer, network layer, and an application layer. Perception layer is, you can say, a physical layer where you have all your electronic devices, the sensors taking your information. Then the network layer, it is responsible that these information that you have from various smart things are able to transmit and process the sensor data. That is what is a network layer will be doing. And application layer, it is responsible for delivering application specific services to the user. So these are the 3 things that the IoT minimum has to perform, and you can say this is the basic architecture. But if we go into the advanced of what more things we should be able to do, so this gives you a little more intense, you can say, what the architecture or an ecosystem can have with the 5 layers. The perception layer is the same, the physical layer to sense it. Now, in addition to that, how are you, we talked about the network layer, which is able to take the sensor data, process it on the cloud. So this together, network layer, you can say it is a transport layer and the processing layer, which transports the data onto the cloud through the various devices such as your Bluetooth, RFID, NFC, Wi-Fi, or 3G or a LAN, and the processing that is at the cloud. It stores, analyzes, processes this huge amount of data. Application layer as the same, it is the same that is providing the services. In addition to that, you can have a business layer that's creating an intelligence for your system and including various applications and the profit models. Now let's come to the processing. We talked about processing is taking place. So how this processing is taking place? So we will be taking it into three parts. The first is, as I talked about, you have a sensor. The sensor is sensing the data. The transport layer is putting it on the cloud. There you have the various algorithms, that is artificial intelligence algorithms, the ML algorithms, which are creating, analyzing this big data and creating some useful information that is coming back to the user application point, and it is being processed. Now, this is a simple, what we have been talking till now is a cloud. Now, what is happening is in this process, when you are sensing the data, putting in the cloud, processing it, sending it back, there is a delays, right? There will be a delay because there, as the number of data is increasing, all that will create a delay process. And in case of emergency, suppose I'm talking about providing a service to a emergency service to a mobile, ambulance. So ambulance is coming at a stop and we want that all the signals should be made green so that it reaches my destination fast. But in case of making a decision of making all the signals green for allowing this ambulance to go fast, what will happen is it has to go to the cloud, come back, and in this process, there will be a delay. And in this case, maybe certain times it could be more fatal for the customer or the user. Now, how can we reduce this is, a further step is, what is happening is from your sensors, there is a gateway to the cloud. Now, at this gateway, if we certain information which requires a faster processing, we can have a fog computing, which talks about taking the decisions at the gateway itself and sending it back so that you save the time of putting it on a cloud, a bigger platform, and taking a larger time to process it. So, but what happens is when you are doing it fog computing between your physical and the transport layer, we have certain more layers coming in. That is, we need to have a monitoring layer, a pre-processing, a storage layer. What happened? Okay. And storage layer. It could be a temporary storage in a sense that you take certain decisions at this level and do the processing. But you need to again give back to the cloud so that any intelligence that is to be created out of this process will be taken care. So this storage layer, which could be temporary, will send the further information to the cloud. A security is very important. Why security is important? Suppose this service is there that for emergency services, you could make all the signals green and provide a service to the ambulance. In case a hacker has a control over it, and suppose a police is chasing your a thief, so what may happen if it gets control over it? He may misuse it for his purpose, and in this process there could be a problem. So security is very important. It's not that anybody should be able to access it, take the decision, take control over it, and do the further processing. So security is very important. So what basically it is for monitoring is monitoring the parameters, the powers, resources, responses, and services. Pre-processing layers, as I said, performs filtering, processing, analytics. Temporary is for storage of storage layer, provides storage facilities. And security layer performs encryptions and decryption and ensure data integrity and privacy. Now, further to this, you want more faster services. So instead of putting it on the gateway, you can have the processing even at the node, that is at the edge also. So what is happening is further fastening of the process, but that is actually this, you need to understand there is a difference. Although you have all the information on the cloud, that is taking more time, but that has got all the information and is collectively having all the information and taking the decision. But when you start taking the decision at lower levels, that may sometimes be not so intelligent because it is lacking of certain information that could have made this decision better. But as far as processing time is concerned, this is faster. The edges, you can say, at the node itself. So if we compare these edge, fog, and cloud layer, as you can clearly see, edge, you are taking the decision at the node, fog at the gateway, and cloud at the cloud. And here you can clearly see which is faster and which is slower, and the response time. So definitely the response time is slower at this point, but it is more informed decision because of the large data that it is having to take that particular decision. So now let's, after understanding all this, so let's understand what is IoT taxonomy. So we will have a perception layer. What is perception layer? It is of the sensor layers. We have a pre-processing to filter and summarize the data before sending it on the network. Communication, it could be following the different protocols, especially with respect to protocols which takes low power. Power is a major concern in IoT. Why? Because you know that there are so many devices, and when they are working, you need to actually give them the energy. And in this process, what may happen is, if you lose the energy, they will stop. If they lose the energy or the power, they will stop responding. So it has to be there very clear that this is using the low energy consumption. The protocols, the routing protocols, all should be low power consumption. Then the middleware, the software, as I said, there are different devices with different protocols, and there's no standard. So what this middleware is, everyone is able to communicate, understand the data. That is the work of a middleware, and application is what all experiences you can give through this particular IoT system. So I'm sorry. So the perception layer, for more clarity, you have various sensors, the mobiles, you know, you have your face recognition, you have your fingerprint recognitions, you have GPS, you have RFID. So various sensors are there. So what are their purposes? To collect all the data of the environment and sense it. So pre-processing, it could be at the various levels, as I talked about it, about filtering of the data and summarizing of your data. Then communication, it is with respect to the low power technologies to be used. It could be the information that is coming through various sensors at the cloud, and the protocols that we are using should be low energy protocols with respect to routing and the technologies being used. The middleware, as I said, are softwares which will help us so that all can communicate and understand the data. It can create an abstractions, and it should be able to provide various services, whether it is energy sector, as you talked about, smart vehicles, your social life and entertainment, automation, environment, fitness. Everyone is now using Fitbit or using smartwatches that is taking care of your steps, your heart rate. So we have various application services being provided with this service. We can classify them as customer IoT, which takes care of light fixtures, fans, lights, home appliances, voice assistants. Then commercial IoTs in healthcare, transport industry, the pacemakers. Industrial IoTs where we have robotics, then infrastructures, connectivity of the smart cities, the military applications. So all this, but having understood that it looks simple, have a sensor, take the data, have a system which can put it on the cloud, have an algorithm which could analyze it, take the decision, send it back, the user has the best experience. The system looks simple, but it has got certain challenges, and also challenges means opportunities, which could be for you to become an entrepreneur or you to be doing a research to find or develop new solutions, make problems, opportunities as for solutions. So first thing is looking into what are the advantages that we received through it. We could see technical optimization, the devices, because of this information that we are receiving, we could optimize the system, improve data. A lot of sensors are there. We could have improved data collection. And in this process, as I took an example of a patient coming to the hospital, because the information was there could be a reduced waste there, improved customer and engagement, because it allows you to improve customer experience by detecting the problem and improving the process. And as I said, this is all happening in real time. Now, what are the disadvantages? When you are using this IoT system, there is a lot of information of the user on the system, on the internet, and therefore there are security issues, privacy issues, and flexibility is also a concern, means scalability and all that. The complexity, as the number of devices are increasing, the complexity is increasing, and the compliance, the rules have to be followed. So these are certain disadvantages, I would say. And finally, coming to the challenges. When we say billions of devices and every device endpoint, do you remember endpoint communication? I should know with which device I have to communicate. You need to give every device a unique identification. Can I keep on giving 1, 2, 3, 4? And there will be a time you will lose the numbers, or basically you won't be able to give it a number, because as your numbers increases, the processing will increase. So you need to give it a unique identification, as well as ensure that in this process, you will be able to have a fast processing. Just to quote what is some of the examples that have come out of a research of giving a unique identification to a device, you will always have, say, an A to D converters, because sensors are taking the data, that's an analog data, that has to be converted into a digital data, and before you do this processing and store. So this A to D converters will have a particular characteristics which comes out as a manufacturing, as a process of manufacturing, and that will be different for each. Like every human being has a different identification. Iris is there, your fingerprints. Aadhaar is using that, right? Aadhaar is giving you a unique ID with this particular parameters. And in case I don't carry even an Aadhaar card with my fingerprint, I could be identified. So there is a physically unclonable function, PUF. It is, just try to write it. The PUF, it's a physically unclonable function which every device needs to have, or we can define it. That will help us to give it a unique identification, and that will actually reduce or resolve our problem of unique identification. Concerns regarding data security, we need to have a good encryption, decryption, and see to it that you give an authentication. It should not be that anyone will be able to access. You should give a particular authentication, then only they should be able to upload the data, edit the data, or process the data. Then comes is your real time. As I talked about, everything has to be real time, in a sense that you need to give the services to the user. It should be in real time with lesser delays. So that we saw how the processing could be, that definitely decision has to be taken, what needs to be done at edge, what needs to be done at fog, what needs to be done at cloud. What doing at edge will not harm my system or take certain decisions which can be harmful for the future. So that way we can think of the processing and make the system real time. The data volumes is an interpretation. So we know there are a lot of algorithms The big data is coming, the analytics, we need AI and ML algorithms. Then, as I said, integration with AI will be a challenge. The device requires constant power supply. As I said, power is a concern. You have millions of devices, keeping them on powered is a concern, and you need to develop the technology which uses minimum power, the algorithms which takes minimum power. Now, security. I have taken it separately to quote certain examples of security, because IoT is now, as I started with IoT, is something which was there since 1999. Until now, we have certain examples which say that the system can be hacked and how fatal it can be. To just quote those, I have taken these certain things. So when we talk about security or providing or making an IoT system secure, is authentication. As I said, only the authenticated user should be able to access that data or retrieve the information. It should not be that anyone gets an access. And you know, nowadays everyone is aware that how your information is so crucial and anyone can misuse it. So authentication is very important. And access control, that is giving a control to only those who are authenticated, keeping the data secure. Non-repudiation means that it should not be that once you are sending an information or receiving the information, either the user or the receiver says that I have not received it. You should have a particular system to see that the system is information is received and nobody can deny, or you have sent it and it has been received. So there should be no way in which the people should be able to deny. The way we are able to see in our WhatsApp, the tick comes into blue. That's information to us saying that it's received at the other end. And availability. Availability is very important. As a user, when I ask for a service to my service provider, I should be provided that service. It should not be that because of the server being down or being hacked, I'm denied the services. So that problem has to be avoided when we talk about providing an IoT security. So what are the, or how these services or the things that key parameters which we identified could be problem? The one is denial of services. So as a user, if I'm asking my service provider a service, I should be immediately or available the resource I should be provided. But suppose there is an attacker, right? Like botnets, what they may do is they can give the fake request to any server, and in this process, your servers is actually, you can say, confused or it is down. And in this process, once then the service, if the user asks for the service, what may happen is it is confused and does not know what to do, and it can be denied the services. That is called as denial of services. So that is actually resources not being available to the user when he is asking for it. So that is what is an issue that we have to take care through the key concerns that are related with security. Distributed denial of services. In the introductory video, as I said, it is IoT system of systems. So if any system that has an access to the whole server, the whole system gets infected, and you can see how severe. So instead of one user, it is this whole system that is getting infected. And now instead of the attacker, they themselves start sending the fake request and make the servers down. That is the distributed denial of service. And unauthorized access, you should always keep that. Normally people have a tendency of using the default settings, and in that, what does an attacker do is he's actually using those default settings only, and user and password, and in that process he gets an access to certain user, and that actually blocks the whole system. And in this process, if he is able to get an access, he can manipulate the information, he can disclose that information. So these are certain and in this manipulation, you can how fatal it can be is shown through this particular slide. This is an example of a Jeep hack. In this, the research team itself could see through an IoT, they got an access to a CAN bus of the Jeep, and actually the driver had no control over the car, and that car met with an accident. This is a part of a research that is reported by IBM Security. Then this is the second case, is a hackable cardiac device. You have pacemakers, right? All of you know a pacemaker is a device that is installed to keep the heart rate normal. So that is again an IoT device, and you can understand that that is also hackable. And if somebody who is not in good favor of you and wants certain harm to you, if gets access to this, you can understand how difficult it could be. That is again reported, that hackable cardiac device from St. Jude that is reported. Then, as I talked about distributed denial of services, it is Mirai botnet. That what it did was it actually infected the whole system. The service provider died, and in this, the whole network went down. I think it was reported in 2015. Netflix, Twitter, all went down because this attacker, Mirai botnet, has infected the one whole service provider, and the user was a victim. And the third one, the last one, which I want to show you is a TrendNet webcam. You know that many people have now installed, for the security reason of their children and the elderly people in their home, have installed the web cameras, and sitting in their office want to have an access and be able to see whether everyone is safe at the home. So if that IP address, anybody gets an access, could also, that was reported with TrendNet webcam, that he could actually get an access of everything what is happening in their house, and you can understand how fatal it can be. So these are certain cases of IoT. Definitely has got a lot of potential for us, for making the system more user friendly, but there are certain concerns. We cannot actually overlook them, because they are they can be very fatal for the user, as a user for us. So when yeah. So as in, if you are looking for the opportunities for yourself as an IoT, after having understood this, IoT is actually an integration of all engineering branches. You cannot say that it restricts itself to an IT or an electronics or AI, ML. It is actually, it requires, as an IoT professional, it requires to be an IoT professional, it requires a knowledge diversity, which has all artificial intelligence, blockchain, cloud computing, data analytics, sensor technology, and internet technology. So the things that you need to learn for being an IoT professional, because there, as you could see, there are a lot of opportunities. So it is programming embedded technology, web technology, communication protocols, sensor networks, satellite, 5G, GPS, IT-enabled devices, cloud computing. All this needs to be actually be a part of curriculum when you study. And the career opportunities, where do you see yourself as an IoT professional? It could be in Google, Samsung, Siemens. All these are working into IoT products or smart homes. That is, everyone now wants their homes to be smart. So all this have come in the business of smart home. Bosch, Microsoft, IBM, Cisco, Amazon. So career path for an IoT professional is what knowledge and what skills, and who could be your professional potential employer. So it is broadening of internet technology, The skills required is device to device protocol, device to gateway protocol, gateway to data system protocol, and the potential employer could be Cisco, IBM. Programming embedded technology, the potential employer could be Panasonic, Koch Industries, SAG, Twitter, and so on. So this is just to give you a brief idea that there are a lot of opportunities, but you need to take care that you are actually skilling yourself with the right skills, because the skills only will help you to grab these opportunities and be actually productive for them. And that is how, if you acquire these skills, the growth path could be as an application programming, engineering design, system programming, or an embedded technologies. And the pay packages show that they are much more than a simple engineering, IT engineering, because in a sense that you have specialized skills, and those skills are actually making or are the differentiators. So the roles for an IoT engineer could be in a customer support, my M2M engineer, technical consultant, backend developers, network engineers, UI UX designers. So I would just like to show one more video before we go to the last part, that is a quiz. So all that what we have seen is actually shown in this particular video. Is it visible and audible? So this was giving you an idea of what all, like smart home, when we talk about whether it's agriculture, whether it's authentication, security, networking with the enterprise, all the examples were there to give you an idea of what all things you can do with an IoT, the projects that you can do with an IoT. Now, just before we end, we have another activity. So for that, I request all of you to join in nearpod.com and use this particular code. Okay. So I can just write it on chat.
Ma'am, you're on mute.
Sorry, I was.
Ma'am, you're still on mute.
Now,
Yeah.
is it okay? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to join or not?
Yes, miss.
Request all of you to be participative. I see the participants, only 10 have joined till now, 9 have joined. Others, please, any problem if you are facing, you can write it in chat. We would, if it is there, we would like to resolve it. It's just a 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes, 3 minutes activity. Yeah, 14 people have joined. Others, please quickly join. Okay, so I'll just start it. For those who are joining now, once I start it, you will get a quiz which will have 30 seconds for each question. There are 5 questions that you need to answer, and it will evaluate you on your response as well as the time that you took it to respond. Okay. So it will start now. Can you see the questions in your or not? Has the quiz started for you? Yes, I can see people responding. The quiz has started. Yeah. Now the second question. Is the second question visible? Yeah. Good.
Ma'am, I am not got second question.
Ma'am, it was over 5 questions for 30 seconds.
Okay. No problem. Sorry. I made a mistake of making it each question. I should have made it. No problem. Sorry. ठीक है. चलेगा. Just see if I can relaunch it. Okay, no problem. Sorry for that. I just made a mistake of scheduling 30 seconds for each, instead a whole was 30. Okay. So that brings us to the end of it, but I just have one last things to share. No problem. The quiz, I think I scheduled the timing wrongly. So I apologize for that. Just last one thing that I want to show you is, a small project that instead of this screen share, I will do. A small project that you could do. This is a simulation project which I want to show, since we talk about sensor data going on the cloud and taking the data from the cloud. This is just a small lab view, you can say a simulation that I'm trying to show you is, this is the cloud, ThingSpeak cloud that you can use. And here I have created one channel to monitor the heart rate. So this is something which I have already tested. And I just want to show you that this one. And now both you will be able to see simultaneously. Yeah, can you see now? What I'll do is just the details we can go later, just to show you that this is your system. Initially, suppose it is at 50, I just make it at 100, and I have integrated it with the cloud. So this cloud should be able to detect this 100, maybe because I have put some delays so that it is not taking the data immediately, but is taking with respect. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, can you see the data which I did it right now in front of you? 100 has gone. Just to give you a demo or a feel that it's not that I'm at home. I cannot do any projects related with this because I don't have the sensors. You have various platforms, simulation platform, that will actually help you to implement your ideas. Just to show you, give you an idea. So it should not be a stopping point. It should be a starting point where you have certain ideas, you should be able to implement it. That's it from my side. Thank you all for patiently listening. If you have any questions, I'm there to answer.
Participants can raise their hand if they have any doubts.
In case there are no questions, then we can end the meeting. Yeah. So, host, should we end the meeting?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for this wonderful session. I also thank all the participants for being the part of this program and making it a success. Thank you. And before leaving the session, all the participants are requested to fill the feedback form that is given in the chat box. That's it. Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you all. Thanks all, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello, Vaishnavi.
Yes, ma'am. We can end the meeting now.
Okay, shall I end the meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, thank you everyone.